Good morning! Welcome to today's video, which is actually a tutorial video. It's gonna be like a regular tutorial video. I get a lot of messages asking how to do the cuffs and the arms of my jack-o'-lantern pattern, which is also the same cuff that I use on my scarecrow pattern. So I thought, instead of trying to individually send everybody their own personal tutorial, which is what I normally do, why not just make a video that shows you how to do it on here? So that's what we're going to do today. This tutorial is not going to tell you what materials to use. I'm not going through the pattern stitches. This is a tutorial simply if you have the pattern and you're not sure how to complete this section, because while I've provided photos, I'm the same in that I need like way more visual to go with it. So let's get right into that. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I have completed rounds 1 to 8 of the hand, and I've added a little bit of stuffing inside of there. So the next part of this is to do 2 rounds in a contrasting color, and that would be one of the stripe colors you're going to use for the sleeve of his shirt. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to use different colors than what the pattern states, so I'm just going to use this gray color in place of the black that the pattern notes. So I'm going to go ahead and just crochet 2 rounds in that sleeve color, and I will meet you back there. This is how the arm should look after you've done rounds 9 and 10. So I've got that gray contrast color for his sleeve started. And then the pattern says to place the last stitch of round 10 on hold. So all that means is you're just going to drop a big loop and let it hang out there. So what this does is it just makes it so that we can return to this later, but once you're working the other part, like sometimes you tug on this yarn a little bit, it might get in the way, just to ensure that that stitch doesn't go anywhere. There might be like a proper like stitch marker that you could use to hold that in place, but this works just as fine. Now it's time to begin the cuff. I'm going to use this lemon lime as my cuff color instead of the white that it says in the pattern. So the instructions for the cuff are actually written in the note section at the bottom of the arms page. So that's where you're going to find that. So it says with white yarn, lime yarn, and the pumpkin hand facing away from you, we're going to insert your hook around the post of the first stitch of round 9. So here is the first stitch of round 9, and we're just going to go into that stitch and back out underneath. So literally right through underneath that stitch. Okay, I'm going to grab my yarn, wrap it around my hook, and I'm going to pull that through, and then I'm going to chain 1. So I'm going to keep going around all those posts until I have 10 stitches. This can be a little bit tricky, but after a while you will get used to it. So just going under and pulling that loop up like a regular single crochet. And under, single crochet. Doing my best to keep this in focus, but this is my first tutorial, so okay. And we're almost done. Just going into the last, couple of stitches here. Okay, so before I keep going, let's count how many stitches we have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I usually count this chain as my 10, so that first one that we did. Okay, so the next part that we are going to do is do 1 single crochet into each of those 10 single crochets that we just did. And we're gonna do that for 4 rounds actually. So I'll show you the beginning of that, and then I'll show you what it looks like after all 4 rounds are completed, because I'm sure you guys will kind of understand what's going on at this point now. So just going right in. There's no joining with the slip stitch, anything. We're just continuously working in the round. So that's 1, 2, grab some more yarn. 3, 4, where's my next one? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so your arm should start looking a little like this. And you're just gonna do 3 more rounds of 10 single crochet, and then we'll come back and look at what we're dealing with. Okay, and here's those 40 stitches completed. So this can be a little bit strange because we're technically crocheting like inside out, but that's because we're going to fold that down to reveal the inside stitches. So I just need to finish this off, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to slip stitch to the next stitch. And I'm just going to cut that yarn. I'll do a pretty generous tail just so it's easier to weave in. Pull that out. Okay, so now we need to flip this down, which can be a little bit tricky. Just gonna have to, there we go. What that's gonna do is pop our row that we ended off with on the actual sleeve back up. Okay, and I've got that little tail that I need to still tuck in, so I'll tuck them in later. And then you can weave in the end of this guy as well. I usually like to go weave underneath into those stitches, and then I would just pull it back into the center. Probably do a lot better of a job if I was doing this for real. But there you go, that's the cuff. So then what you're going to do is just continue on with the arm. You're gonna pick this yarn back up that we put on hold. We're done with that. If you want to do a solid color, you can. If you want to go in the stripes, I believe you would change your color on this first round here, but then you just pick up and you keep going. I do recommend using a stitch marker. I didn't for this tutorial just because I'm a little bit lazy and I feel like the stitches were pretty easy to count. But that's it. That's how you crochet the cuff section of the Pumpkin Man. I hope that makes sense. I hope that was clear. I hope everything was relatively easy and that cleared things up. If you guys have any questions regarding that list, just let me know. I'll try my best to answer them. I hope that your cuffs are a lot easier to make now. There's probably an easier way to construct them. That's just the way that I came up with, and it works for me. It's just, I think, getting used to that technique of working 2 rounds at once kind of thing and then working inside out. If there's any other parts of this pattern that you would like me to break down into a tutorial form, I would be happy to do that too. If you found this tutorial helpful, like, comment, subscribe, leave me some feedback. I'm open to it all. Have a great day. Bye.